Welcome to STS with DSP. Yep, we're from camera 3. Camera 1? I don't know. I've got so many cameras in this damn studio, we'll figure it out. But welcome. If you're new here, make sure you're logged into your YouTube account or your Google account. They're synonymously the same thing, so you can participate in the chat. I'm going to kind of go through, give time people to log on, look at some of the comments, the hellos, the good mornings. Let me know you're with me, where you're chiming in from. That'd be great. Then I'll start my portion of Shoot the Shit with DSP. When I'm finished, I answer your questions. So let's get the old readers out so that I can get this all going. We're going to start off with Caleb, make sure it's all working. It is working. We got a good morning from Caleb. Good morning to you. Welcome back, my friend. It is awesome to have you. Steve Ellers in the house says, good morning from rainy Oregon, working on accounting presentation. Hey, it's rainy here in Arizona. We've got that tropical storm coming up from Mexico, and I'm not really excited about that. I like the rain, but tomorrow I have got a trial run down a course because I've got a race next week, and so I really don't want to do it in the rain, and I really don't want it canceled by lightning because that is a distinct possibility. Seaquake Brewing's in the house. Good morning, Deja Wakefield. It is awesome to have you, as always. Where are we? We've got Marcia. Marcia is new to me. Good morning from St. Charles, Missouri. Marcia, welcome here to Shoot the Shit. I think it's the first time you've participated in the chat. Maybe not your first time on here, but it is awesome to have you. My man, Carlos Z's in the house. Good morning, DSP. And what is the red icon? What is that thing? What's that emoji? We angry? We're upset? Or we're screaming because we're excited about today? I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me at some point in time. How are we doing on time here? We are cruising right along. So I think it's time to move on from the comments, get into today's presentation. Let me get things working here. Oh, I need my glasses because I cannot see sometimes. There we are. Fantastic. So let's get started, shall we? Welcome to Shoot the Shit with DSP. STS with DSP happens every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube, travel schedule permitting. We're going to invest about 30 minutes out of your day to get pumped about the upcoming weekend, get excited about crushing your goals, and finding the motivation to be the best you possible. Plus, I'll answer your burning questions. I'm Dave Scott Peters, creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula, and your coach. As a reminder, if you're just joining me, make sure you log into your Google account, your YouTube account. They're synonymously the same thing, so you can participate in the chat. I'll bring your comments up on screen, and I will answer your questions at the end. This is your opportunity to ask me questions. But first, it's time for me to do a little teaching. Here we go. All right, restaurant pros, let's be real for a second. The economy isn't so good. That economic outlook right now, not good. I don't need some Wall Street an analyst to tell me that. I'm hearing that straight from the trenches, from my members, from coaching calls, from restaurant pros just like you. What am I hearing? Sales are down 5 to 10% across the board. Do I have some members that are up? Yes, I've got outliers that have incredible operations, that are incredible leaders, that have really honed their skills on Restaurant 101, have found a way to be the place everybody wants to go to. But even if you're that, some markets have been down for quite a while. And when I hear from member after member after member that they're down 5 to 10%, that's not a blip. That's a pattern. And for those of you who lived through the Great Recession like I did back in 2008 as a restaurant coach, this is starting to feel uncomfortably familiar, isn't it? Back then, it was such a hit that fine dining restaurants lost 50% of their sales overnight. That's not an exaggeration, that's real. It's when those fine dining diners moved down to family full-service restaurants. When the family full-service restaurant customer went to quick serve. And many small operators went out of business. That's what it feels like we're heading towards. But here's the deal. I have talked to my members the last 2 weeks in our group coaching calls that you cannot sit back and accept it. You can't say, we'll ride this economy's downturn. So I just ride it out. That mindset kills restaurants. You've got to fight back, get creative. You got to find ways to drive sales up. So if your sales are down, what are you going to do? If you look up my podcast, Restaurant Prosperity Formula, find the episode where I teach you how to increase your sales by $250,000 a year. Small, incremental changes in multiple areas of your business, multiple streams of revenue. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Now, this is what I want to do. Before you panic, I'm going to show you something that might just blow your mind. Even when sales drop down 10%, if you tighten up your restaurant systems and brought your prime cost down to around 55%, where I've been preaching for almost, 23 years, you can actually make more money than you did before. Yeah, you heard me right. Lower sales, higher profit. Let me show you what I mean. Using two budgets, same restaurant, same conditions, just one key difference. Prime cost that's dialed in like a pro. Having systems in place, managers on the floor, running your business like a business, not a charity, where we go from having hope and praying, which is not a strategy, to having a system, a process, a way to doing everything. So I'm about to show you, if I take a restaurant, sales, cost of goods sold, labor, operating expenses. If I take that restaurant and I reduce its sales by 10%, but I reduce its prime cost from in the high 70s, mid 70s, to around 55, how you actually make more money. How you actually have a restaurant that gives you a life. A restaurant that has managers that know what their job is, how to do it, how well that should be done, more importantly by when. A restaurant that gives you 2 days off in a row. And for many, has you working on your business, not in it, every single day. That's the power of systems. But right now it is frightening. It is a frightening time when sales are down. Now we can work on marketing. We can do things in our restaurant to increase those sales. Yes, I do not want to say we're not going to do those things. But what we are going to do right now is pay attention to what we can do. And ultimately, what we can do is take care of our restaurant operations. We as leaders of our business can make changes that have a dramatic impact to your bottom line, even and especially when sales are dropping. So let's bring up a couple budget templates here. And I'm going to make the font larger here. Let me bring my mouse over. Control plus, plus, plus. That's about as large as I can, willing to make it where we cannot see all the details. But I'm going to show you what we're going to look at, some key things. Okay? So you'll notice up here in cell B3, this is a $2.3 million restaurant. Its seasonality is 7.285% of sales in November, 8.54. Get the picture. This is your seasonality based on how your sales come in. So 167, 196, 208, 248. And as I scroll across, you start to see all the sales, all the seasonality, the ups and downs, but ultimately ending at the $2.3 million in sales. Now next, what do we grab? And I'm actually make this just a little smaller so that I can get more on the screen here. We've got our sales mix. Where does that come from? It comes from for my group, their DSR tracker, the daily sales report, a tracker. You got QuickBooks, you got a POS system. You can easily find your percentage of sales. In this example, 75.49% of sales is food. So of the $167,000 expected to be done in November, it's going to produce $126,000 in food sales. It's a variable. Make sense? Well, you've got this information, yeah? Well, then we scroll down and we say, okay, I've got my cost of goods sold. Where are my food costs, my pour costs running by category? In this example, 31.5% for food cost, 24% NA Bev, liquor 21%, 41% for the wine. You get the picture, yes? Well, what is that number? Well, it's use divided by sales. But in this case, it's going to be the percentage, in this case 31.5% food sales, into $126,000 in food. We're going to use $39,820. So this will adjust itself. This Google Sheet is my solution, my Budget Builder MVP that my members use. I've had it programmed to operate like software, but right now we're not going to go into the ins and outs, but I want to show you the tools we provide our members and how using these tools, I can show you that when your sales drop, you can actually control your prime costs, make more. Well, here's this lightly managed restaurant. I would tell you that this restaurant probably needs more coverage. Dishwashers 1.9%, line cooks, outrageous. Real restaurant. I want to be very clear, 18.49%. This is either a menu that's tremendously complex, there's too much prep, it's being mismanaged. There are so many things that go into this. When I generally want 10 to 12% back house labor, and I sit there and add in my prep cooks, I added my dishwashers, and my total back house labor is 21.24%. That is the total labor I'm expecting for most restaurants. But this is just back of house. This happens all the time. So we come down and we look at all these things. What is that 18%? 18.4% times $167,000 says $30,862 will go to my kitchen or my cooks. Well, as I scroll down a little further, I've got this line item called prime cost. Row 90. What is prime cost? Prime cost is your total cost of goods sold plus your total labor costs, including taxes, benefits, insurance. If you do over $850,000 a year in sales, my prime cost target for you is 55% or lower. The higher your sales, the lower. This is a $2.3 million restaurant. I would be searching and working towards a 50% prime cost for this restaurant. But you don't click your fingers and magic, you're at a 50%. We have to implement systems, processes, ways, trains our management team, hold them accountable, hold our team accountable, train our team. Like it takes time. I suck, I create work. But when you put the work in, it makes life so much easier. Now, in this restaurant, if I look at it, oh, by the way, before I go any further, do you know what a typical restaurant runs in prime cost? A restaurant that does not take inventories on a weekly basis and knows their food costs using software. A restaurant that doesn't track labor on a daily basis and schedule based on a budget. They tend to run about a 78% prime cost. I've been doing this. I'm in my 23rd year of coaching. I've literally worked with thousands of restaurants and I've done thousands of budgets. And I'm going to tell you, a typical restaurant who has no controls in place is running about a 78% prime cost. And I want you at 55. The old experts used to say 65%, and I said no, with the increased costs, with labor costs going through the roof, with needing a tech stack and all these things that are robbing us of our money, our occupancy costs going up, you can't run that way anymore. So 55 or lower is what we look for. If you're under $850,000 a year or more in sales, we're looking at a 60% prime cost. It's much harder to make money on a lower volume restaurant. Now, let's look at this restaurant. Its prime cost, just hit there, is running 75% this month, 74, 74, 73, based on a number of factors. We're not going to go into in great detail, but 74.39% for the year. Some ups, little downs. That has to do with salaried managers, sales going up and going down. Get the picture? This is very much a typical restaurant. You need to do this calculation if you're not doing it right now. Now, if I go across, I'm going to show you a couple things down here in the operating expenses. You've got your chart of accounts, and anytime you see this column D, which is the percentages, white, that's a variable expense. It's taking the percentage, multiplying it times the sales. Then when we come over here, we look at column C, and I see a number in there, like coming down here to, say, electricity. I'm estimating my fixed cost of electricity. Generally speaking, You could put your seasonality in. If you're like here in Phoenix, Arizona, where we do 118 degrees Fahrenheit, middle of summer, our power bill's higher and our sales are lower. You could do that. Or I generally take the 12-month average and throw it across. We're going to have some ups, some downs. I just need a guide for my budget. So for the whole year, all the expenses there. But as I go down, I have fixed and variable expenses like credit card fees. This is a dynamite fee. Most people are 2.4, 2.3, 2.2. This is 1.53. Unheard of. I have very few restaurants under 2%, let alone that low. And we come down and here's my rent, $15,000 a month, which is 8% of sales. This month, 7%, and so on, as sales go up and down because it's a fixed cost. Well, notice this restaurant is a typical restaurant. If I come down my net profit and loss and I scroll all the way over, I want you to notice this restaurant is going to make $79,490 or 3.46%. Now, if I've got owner salary in here, I'm going to add the owner salary and percentage to this because that is a part of your profits. You've just chosen to take it as either as payroll or as a distribution and not leave it in your restaurant bank account. They count. They add together. What is a typical restaurant? National Restaurant Association says a typical restaurant is going to run a 5 to 8% profit margin. What do my members run? My members run 15 to 20%. Without giving up guest satisfaction, without cutting product quality, without going against your core values. But I'm going to tell you, even my members are going to start to see when they've got their restaurants crushing it with systems and everything and their sales drop, there's not as many tools in the toolbox anymore to do what I'm about to show you, a typical restaurant, if you were to lower your prime cost. So it is painful. And we are going to have to focus more on increasing sales, just to be clear. But assuming you're one of these people, where if I scroll down here for the year, the restaurant is running, if you'll notice, cell BQ201 is running a 74.39% prime cost. Typical restaurant. And I'm telling you, most are running 78 and higher. What if my sales dropped? In this restaurant, it's $2.3 million restaurant in sales, or gross sales. That's what we're anticipating. So $230,000 have to come off the top, right? And if $200,000 comes off the top, what does that mean to me? Well, let's say we don't operate properly. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a change. Like I told you, I had this programmed like software, so I'm going to change the input mode into a percentage. What that means is now flipping the equations that whatever number I have in B3, it's going to spread it across the budget based on 7.28% of sales, 8.54. So I'm going to keep the seasonality, lower sales, and keep the seasonality. So now, if I get my trusty dusty calculator, because I don't want to do this in my head and look like a complete idiot at the beginning here. If I take $2.3 million and I subtract $230,000, my new target sales volume would be 2,070,000.00. $2,070,000. That's what's going to happen. Now, how does that ultimately affect our profitability? I'm going to come right over here, scroll all the way to the bottom, go back to the profit margin, and our profits are now down to $40,000. 1.94%. 1.94%. Do you know what this is? If you make $40,000 on $2 million in sales, you are in a cash flow nightmare. You are literally barely paying your bills because you need sales to come in to pay the bills from the last 2 weeks. This is why in COVID, when it hit and we shut down, that a lot of restaurants went out of business because they only had 2 weeks of cash flow. They couldn't last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months not operating because they didn't have enough cash. They were expecting the cash flow to come in and pay for the old bills. So it becomes this little Ponzi scheme, if you will. Well, my members know to keep enough money in the bank. My members work with a 12-month budget or 13-period budget to get themselves to a point where they're not using lines of credit, they're not going backward, they're not concerned like others. So now, let's remember, we had a $2.3 million business, and we just, at a 74.39% prime cost, we just lowered it to $2,070,000. Here's that same budget, $2,070,000. Same everything when it comes to sales. So I've dropped my sales by 10%. Then I come down here and I made some changes. My food cost, I brought in a brand new menu. I re-engineer a menu because I've up-to-date, accurate recipe costing cards. I've got a point-of-sale system, and you've got me on your team. We do a menu engineering call, and we reduce your food costs because we have to. It may be you have to change some items on the menu. You have to change what you purchase. You have to get rid of some losers. You have to add some new things, change the mix, merchandise, place it in the right place, put a box around it. We have all the tools to make the change the first time and make a dramatic impact. In this case, we go from 31.5% food cost to 26. Does that happen? Yeah, it does. In fact, we've moved the needle sometimes 7, 9, or even more points without giving up guest satisfaction. We don't go out and buy shitty product. We change what's necessary. We don't get married to menu items. We get married to a business that makes our guests happy and makes us money. Next, we come down and we've got our NA Bev costs, our soft beverages, from 24% to 18%. Maybe we've discovered that we've got people giving away free sodas. We got people who are half consuming drinks all around the restaurant, going get another one, getting another one, getting another one. Maybe we discovered we haven't raised our price in 5 years. We make the change. See, this budget lets me see what I need to do. Then I got my liquor costs to go from 21%, which is not a bad pour cost depending on the kind of restaurant you are. If you are serving a lot of higher-end cocktails, higher-end bourbons and tequilas and so on, that menu mix, I would have greater cash contribution, higher sales, and a higher pour cost, but I'd make more money because my labor costs would drop. That's prime cost. But if I have a rot gut well, like low-end product, and I sell a lot of it at happy hour, I should be able to run about an 18% pour cost. So we're going to look for theft. We're going to look at pricing. We're going to look at mix. We're going to look at what we're selling. Then to come down and say my draft beer is great, 21 to 23. We serve a lot of craft beers. I'm good with that. But I took my wine from 41.64% down to 34 because we implemented new glassware that has a little my logo etched in, sandblasted in. So I know when I pour, I go to the top of the logo. It is perfect pour every single time. We get rid of those bottles that were red wines that were serving one glass of it every 5 days because the wine is dying. We stop letting the kitchen grab good wine and we buy them their own box wine and assign it to them in their food cost. We find all the ways that we can do this. By the way, who gives a rat's ass? In this restaurant, if I bring this from oops, I just hit the thing again, go from 41% down to 34, when my wine sales are 1.36% of sales, I don't give a shit if I left it at 41% because it doesn't have an impact. What I care about is that my food sales, which is 75% of my sales, I make that change. You get the picture? This is the power of budgets. This is why if you've been following for any length of time, I say the two most important systems any restaurant should have are budgets and recipe costing cards. Here's the proof. Now, let's scroll down to labor. Labor, I changed my kitchen from 18% down to 9%. That's cooks, because I still have, if you'll notice, if I take this, I highlight my dishwashers, and I didn't change prep, it's still about 12% of sales. That's what it's supposed to be. We can get into analysis and look at everything. We can use a calculation called dollars per labor hour worked and see where those inefficiencies are and that you truly do have a problem. But let's say you look at this. If it means you making money or you dying, you're going to make the change. And I cannot tell you how many restaurants I come across that we look at their kitchens and have to cut their labor in almost half. It's frightening. I get it. But you're the leader of your business, and this is what you have to do to make money. Now, I made one more change, and that's my servers down to 8.6%, from 8.6% to 4.5%. I had people standing around doing nothing. Well, what does that ultimately do? Prime cost now 55, 54, 55. If I come all the way across, 54.62. Remember, my goal is a 55% prime cost or under. This should be a 50% prime cost. But let me show you what this does. Now, I want to be very clear as we go down. Yes, when your sales drop, things change. Your variable expenses go down. Variable expenses go up and down with sales. So, if I had paper supplies in here as a percentage, 2% of sales, sales go up, I use more paper. Sales go down, I use less. That's easy. But do you know what doesn't change? I'm going to scroll down all the way to rent. My fixed cost of rent. It is now almost 10% of sales for this month. So I don't have as many pennies left over to cover my fixed costs and then leave pennies for me, because my fixed costs are that fixed. So without changing anything, I can tell you this. I generally shoot for about a 25% cost of goods sold, a 25% labor cost, give or take 5 points, 55. I generally look to run about a 25% operating cost. That gets me to my 15-20% profit margin. Well, if I go backward to the original budget, you can see our operating costs were about 23.18%, doing really well, under 25. As we come over here and we look at our operating expenses, it is now 23.18. Why? Because of my variable expenses. Now, look at this. My prime cost is now 54.62% from 74.39%. Let's go backward. On $2.3 million in sales, I was going to make 2%, $40,000. If my sales drop by 10% and I reduce my prime cost to 54.62%, this restaurant is going to do a 22.2% profit margin, $459,000 in profit. And what if you say, David, it's bullshit? What if I'm half right? Do you understand the power you have as an operator to sit there and say, the economy may suck. We may be in a recession or headed to a recession, and we've been here before. But you have an opportunity to decide that you are not going to operate the way you've always operated. It is now time for you to scan that QR code and get on Ryan James' calendar, because now is the time. See, the economy is a cycle. It's a wave. Waves come in, the economy goes up, it goes down. And when you look at people surfing, when they get up on their board and they start paddling on their knees to gain momentum, do they gain momentum before the wave gets to them, as the wave gets to them, or as the wave passes them by? Before. You need the momentum. Before. So while things are going down, now is your opportunity to make change in your business. Number one, survive? No, thrive. Yes, lower sales, but higher profit. And then when that wave, when the economy starts jacking itself back up, sales are up, costs are down, things are moving, you will have momentum to let the energy of the wave ride you into a destination of a profitable restaurant, freedom from your business, time with your family, everything you dreamed of. But you as an operator, you have to figure that out right now. So if you're ready for change, do me a favor. Scan that QR code. Get on a call with Ryan James. Find out whether the budget that we do for you, help you with, the systems we provide you to achieve these numbers, is right for you or not. We're not right for everybody. I just like to think we are. But I'd love an opportunity to show you because now's the time. Not ready for membership? I want you to go to my website. I'll go there. I'll show you right now. So let's go here. Let's click on this. Let's go to davidscottpeters.com. I want to take you up here where it says live seminar. Click on the live seminar in the upper right hand side, and you'll notice we are running a VIP special. A discounted ticket for the VIP, which has got bonuses like a group coaching call before the seminar, a P&L analysis. Let me get rid of that pop-up. Your P&L analysis before we get there that Steve Eller will do. It's going to be front rows, priority seating. It's going to be, after day one, a happy hour that we're going to host with my members, with Matt Plapp, restaurantowner.com, and his team, me and my team. I'm buying the drinks. So you can attend for the $500 per person and get this elevated ticket for 4 more days. So whether it's look at membership or come to the seminar, the choices are yours. Now, that concludes my portion of STS. What I'm going to do is grab all my stuff. We're going to make our way over to the comfy chair. And let me do that right here. We want camera. There we go. All right, hopefully that was a smooth transition, as smooth as possible. Let us get back to your comments here. And where did I stop? I stopped at Carlos. Oh, it was a pumpkin. Carlos, I was wondering what the emoji was. It was a pumpkin. It's that big, and notice my old eyes. Brandon's in the house. What's going on, Brenda? It is wonderful to have you here. Hey, good morning, DSP from Bodega Bay, California. Bodega. I can say, I swear. By the way, did you change the concept? And did it go well? I don't remember. We haven't talked in a long time. Steve Eller has put in, when I mentioned the podcast, How to Increase Your Sales by $250,000 a Year, he put that in the chat. That's a link I just showed up there. So make sure that if you're watching this afterwards, you go find that. Ryan James is in the house. Ryan says, Budget Builder taught me that I keep manager salaries under 10%. I can make a ton more money. Yeah, it depends on your volumes, right? 10% is about the average. We're looking for about $1 million, 1.5. It's going to be lower than that as we get up to $2 million and higher. Otherwise, you're chewing up money. Many of you, though, are undermanaged, and that's what we find out. Steve Eller also put in a link, the link that you can get to my website and learn about the seminar and what have you. Again, whatever works for you. Otherwise, you still want to circle around and just join me here live every Friday that I'm not traveling. I will not be here next Friday. Next Friday, I'm on a race course in Boston, Massachusetts, rowing the Head of Charles Regatta, the largest 3-day regatta in the world. And I'm going to row out of my alumni, Northeastern University's boathouse. I am renting a boat from my alumni. It's really exciting stuff. We just celebrated our 60th year as a team. So pretty cool. Now is the time for your questions. How are we doing on time? We're a little bit over, but I went a little long, so I'll make some time for you guys. Carlos says, I'm dropping everything and working on a budget. D-Mill and are beginning with chart of accounts. Yes, budget's critical, brother. It's critical. But you've done some really big things. I really want you to take the pressure off yourself. You can't do it all at once, dude. But you are impressive. You are getting it done. Linda's in the house. Linda says, hey, DSP, good morning from Pasadena, California. I'm inches away from finishing my first budget ever. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You, my friend, have done incredible things. I don't know when your podcast comes out, but I hope everybody watches it because truly impressive. Truly impressive. I appreciate you. Does anybody have any questions? Do me a favor. Type it into make sure you're logged into your Google account, aka YouTube. Type in your questions. There's about a 15-second delay, so I'm going to draw it out a little bit here to make sure you have an opportunity to do so. If not, we're over time, and I will stop and let you know that there is not a Shoot the Shit next week. The week after, I'll be back here live answering your questions. Right now, let's just double check here. We still have a bunch of you on here. Nothing new. So I'm just going to say that you've had enough of DSP. Know that I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you'll click on the QR code if you're not a member. I hope that I'll see you in Las Vegas, even if you click on the QR code, even if you're a member, because there's nothing quite like the 2-day seminar in Las Vegas. I promise you. I hope today did not create anxiety for people, but instead it created some relief. And I do have 2 questions came up real quick, so I'm going to pause on leaving you. Brandon says, open new waterfront location, close Placeville location, and trying to figure out plans for the original location. Need to set up 15 with you, ready for help. We're here, brother, you know that. I haven't gone anywhere. Marcia says, final comment, and then we'll go. Marcia says, I'm new here. Just finished your book and have listened to your about 50 episodes. Can't wait to continue to learn and attend the seminar. And Steve says, can't wait to see you in Vegas. That's fantastic. You, my friend, we call it, you have gone down the rabbit hole, right? It starts with the book sometimes, then it goes to the podcast, then it goes to YouTube, and talk to Ryan at some point in time, but I don't care when. Can't wait to see you at this seminar. All right, everybody. It is time to wrap up Shoot the Shit with DSP. We'll not see you next week. In 2 weeks, I'll be back at it here for you live. Otherwise, in the meantime, go out there, kick some ass, be the best you possible, be the leader your restaurant needs. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Peace, everybody. Thanks so much.